the Modi Gallery of the Prime Minister's Museum and Library is being inaugurated. We have with us at the moment Vice Chairman of the Executive Council, Mr. Surya Prakash. Mr. Surya Prakash, thanks so much for joining us here on Times Now. Let me begin by asking you what really is new and different about the Prime Minister Modi Gallery as compared to the other Prime Minister's galleries that have been inaugurated in the past.
Yeah, you see, the Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya was inaugurated in April 2022, but it did not have the Modi Gallery. Now, we felt that this journey of India over the last 75 years would be sort of incomplete because without the Modi Gallery, and he is completing 2 terms now, so we thought we must put this together, and the work began about a year ago. And now we are ready to open the Narendra Modi Gallery to the public. This gallery, like other galleries, is interactive. It is interactive and it is informative, and it is meant to put together to showcase the progress that this country has achieved over the last 10 years in the Modi era. So it begins with a host of things because there are a lot of initiatives that have been taken and very major progress has been achieved in various sectors. Like look at the anti-poverty thrust of the Narendra Modi government and ease of living. For example, LPG connections to 100 million homes, and you have drinking water, tapped water to 140 million homes achieved. Then you have toilets which have been built for 110 million homes. In my view, these are phenomenal. This is phenomenal work done in the social sector. Like that, you have, for example, women's empowerment, very major initiatives. There are a lot of induction of women in the armed forces, and 70% of the houses built for the poor are registered in the names of women. So also look at the reservation for women in our legislature and parliament. All of us have been listening to this for the last 20-25 years, that this must be done. Mr. Modi has executed that, so before the decade is out, you will have 30% of the seats allotted to women in our parliament and legislatures. So this is on social sector. Like that, if you come to say international relations, massive effort by him to establish one-on-one contact with the top leaders of the world, and he has a very good equation with all of them. He has traveled to 64 nations, and all this work that he has done in the area of international improving India and India's image over the last 10 years, I don't think anybody can dispute that, globally has taken a big leap. So also if you come to environment, if you come to his people connect, for example, Man Ki Baat, his Pariksha Pe Charcha, the way he connects with the members of the armed forces, students and citizens generally. Man Ki Baat is a unique experiment and phenomenal, and it has gone on for 10 years non-stop, where he connects with citizens of the country, and some good things being done by citizens are highlighted by him. Look at the economy, for example. You had, your foreign exchange reserves were about $300 billion when he came in as Prime Minister. Today, it has crossed $600 billion. FDI inflows have been steadily going up year on year. So these are all very major factors. I mean, there is not a single field where things have not happened. In fact, there is big push, and there is a certain, in this government, given his leadership or the mode of his leadership, there is certain determination, and he always says, Sankalp se Siddhi tak. So there is a certain determination, and you can look at that in regard to the foundation stones that are laid for projects. For example, the new Parliament House. He laid the foundation stone in December 2020. It was inaugurated in May 2023. And so also so many other projects. He sets a deadline for completion of projects.
Now, the Prime Minister's journey has been recorded right from his home state of Gujarat, from Vadnagar up to the 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. Take us through what aspects of this journey that you haven't covered in the past or haven't known about in the past have been unearthed in this gallery.
No, for example, his childhood, the beginnings, it was a very indigent family, and his beginnings there and helping out his dad with the tea stall and his early school days and this, that, and then his youth, and then we come to the 70s where he became politically very active. He went underground during the emergency, helping the families of a lot of people who had been detained under MISA by the Indira Gandhi government. And then his entry into Bharatiya Janata Party and responsibilities there, and then as Chief Minister, and finally as Prime Minister. This is one aspect of the gallery which is in the inner circle. And in the outer circle we have various galleries specific to, say, good governance, where we deal with all these things like I was talking about. And for example, international relations, and then you have environment, and then we have a section called Vikas, where all the development schemes and projects have been put together. Actually, if you take a tour of the Modi gallery, there was, until this gallery was ready, as I said, there was a certain incompleteness to our narrative of India's journey since independence, the last 75 years. So the last 10 years are very crucial because we have taken a big leap in many areas. And it's also very interactive. For example, Chandrayaan-3, for example, the visitor can come and he can press the buttons and he can see on his command the rocket taking off and various maneuvers until it lands on the moon. So there are a lot of things. For example, the Digital India thing, there is a kiosk where one can go and probe that. And then there is Suraksha and Sanskriti. I must tell you that it is in the Modi era that we have, in a sense, reconnected with our civilizational past and glory. So the Kedarnath development, Kashi Vishwanath corridor, I mean, phenomenal work has been done in all these areas. And of course, now he is going to be there at the Prana Pratishthapan of Ram Lala on January 22nd.
The renaming had happened. There were objections coming in from the Congress party, which had sought to call this an attempt at eclipsing the memory of Prime Minister Nehru and his contributions. Are you expecting a similar reaction now?
Yes, Madhav. Even at that time I had told you, for anyone who says that, I would say, sir, please come and visit the Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya. Do you know that the Nehru Gallery, the Nehru section in Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya, is 3 to 4 times the size of any other gallery of any other Prime Minister? So it just doesn't make sense to make such allegations. And it's very important to showcase the Narendra Modi, the 10 years of Narendra Modi as Prime Minister, because otherwise the story of India's journey since independence would be terribly incomplete. There is so much progress achieved, like I said, whether it's the economy, whether it's the environment, women's empowerment. Can you imagine? And he has a habit of wading into issues which where people say is simply too complicated. For example, Article 370, abrogation of 370. I have always heard that that can never be abrogated. He did it on 5th August 2019. So also this, reservation for women in legislature and parliament. Everyone said, no, that's too complicated, can't be done. GST, having one common indirect tax regime for states and center, very huge step. And in fact, he has now initiated this one nation, one election idea, which everyone, of course, is saying is very complicated. How can you have one election spread over all these 28 states and parliament? So that is what This is actually another thing I must tell you, that I have been tracking the Narendra Modi government and its activities because I am a political writer and commentator throughout the last 10 years. But today, as you know, a person with this responsibility in the Prime Minister's Museum, when I got down to the task of the content and curation along with my colleagues here, I find that what we have before us in terms of work of the government is simply phenomenal.
Also, sir, please take us through how, through the use of technology and otherwise, you plan to incorporate the future contributions of prime ministers in the future as well, and updating this particular library. How is all of that going to happen?
No. One thing is, as you can see, that Mr. Modi is in office today, and we are having Lok Sabha elections in May. So as we go along, there will be additions to his gallery. And of course, wherever we find material for in respect of other prime ministers, we will certainly incorporate them. And Pradhan Mantri Sangrahalaya is always work in progress, because there are new things coming up and which additions which we can make to even past prime ministers' galleries. We shall certainly do that, and there is provision for building the galleries of prime ministers who will succeed Mr. Narendra Modi in the future.
So thank you so much for joining us and taking the time out and speaking to us here at Times Now. Has the Prime Minister's involvement in the Ram Janmabhoomi movement also been recorded in this gallery?
Yes, there is a reference to that, and that is there. But the primary focus in the gallery is on his governance. So there are a lot of things connected with governance which are there. And as I said, the other aspect of his tenure over the last 10 years has been determination to see things through in time. I say this because in 71, 72, when I was a cub reporter in the Indian Express, I used to cover Indira Gandhi's campaigns in Karnataka, Andhra and all that, and the dozens of foundation stones that she laid. God knows what became of those foundation stones, because there were no project reports, and in any case there were no budgetary allocations. So if you come to the Modi Gallery, we have put together several of these things where he lays the foundation stone and then he inaugurates it. The latest being what he did on January 12th, the Atal Setu. So he laid the foundation stone 2016, and 2024 he was inaugurating the sea link running to 22 kilometers. So in terms of development and commitment to the cause of development and anti-poverty and ease of living has been, there is a lot of focus on that in this government, and I think it's important for us to put all this together before the people.